The speculation that started with whispers and rumblings has now erupted into undeniable reality. Micah Parsons has formally requested a trade from the Dallas Cowboys. It's no longer just rumors, it's fact. The situation between Parsons and the Cowboys has deteriorated to the point of no return, at least in the public eye. What once seemed like standard off-season posturing has morphed into a full-blown fracture between one of the NFL's most dynamic defensive players and the franchise that drafted him. The negotiations, if you can even call them that, have completely unraveled. According to Parsons, the Cowboys never even truly started serious talks, and despite his repeated attempts to open the door, he was met with silence. This isn't about leverage anymore. It's about principle, respect, and how a franchise treats its cornerstone talents. Micah took to social media to make his feelings known with a lengthy, emotionally charged post, one that can't be ignored or brushed off as mere drama. He made it clear he no longer wants to be part of the Cowboys organization. He feels disrespected, sidelined, and taken for granted. Despite his desire to remain a Cowboy for life, something he's expressed multiple times, Parsons says he's tired of behind-the-scenes negotiations without transparency, of being criticized for getting injured while giving everything for the team, and of having narratives created to make him look like the problem. In his own words, he tried to stay quiet to protect the process, to allow room for a deal to happen behind closed doors. But when those doors never opened, and the silence turned into public spin, he felt he had no choice but to speak out. And now, here we are with a formal trade request on the table and the Cowboys front office exposed. The heart of Micah's frustration lies in the timeline. He laid out a clear, detailed account of how he attempted to initiate extension talks multiple times, only to be met with radio silence. He said his agent reached out during his third year, long before other pass rushers reset the market. He didn't care about waiting for others to get paid. He wanted to get a deal done early. That gesture of goodwill was ignored. Again, after the season, his agent reached out during the NFL Combine. Nothing. Later, he had a personal conversation with Jerry Jones, where contract figures were briefly discussed, but Parsons assumed it wasn't a formal negotiation. He expected the conversation would lead to something concrete, but once again, silence. No calls. No texts. No formal offer. According to Micah, the Cowboys have not once negotiated with his agent about money, years, structure, anything. It's been stonewalling, and now that silence has turned into damage that may be irreparable. If this was a leverage play by Micah, it's not one rooted in greed, it's rooted in wanting to be valued and respected. He's not asking to be traded because he wants out of Dallas. He's asking because he feels he has no other recourse. He's watched the team drag its feet while offering no communication. He's taken shots in the media, and he's heard the insinuations that he's being difficult or unreasonable. But all signs point to a player who bent over backward to be proactive, only to be ghosted by the very franchise that should be bending over backward to lock him up. And when the likes of Stephen Jones go on record suggesting Micah needs to want to be paid, it crosses a line from mismanagement to flat-out gaslighting. This is a franchise that claims to value its stars while actively alienating them behind the scenes. Now, the effects are rippling across the Cowboys locker room. Multiple teammates, Trayvon Diggs, CeeDee Lamb, Osa Odigizua, DeMarvion Overshown, have made subtle but pointed social media statements supporting Micah. And it's no coincidence that it's mostly players who've already been paid that feel secure enough to speak out. The locker room knows what's going on. They see how one of their own, arguably the heart of the defense, is being treated, and it sends a message. If they can do it to Micah, they can do it to anyone. This situation is about more than one contract. It's about culture. It's about trust. And right now, the Cowboys front office is burning both at the altar of ego and control. What's worse is that the Cowboys have managed to box themselves into a corner with almost no upside. If they do pay Micah now under pressure, they've only made the deal more expensive. That's the cost of procrastination. That's the cost of playing games with a player who holds all the leverage on and off the field. Micah's value hasn't gone down, it's gone up. And any victory they claim in dragging this out is Pyrrhic at best. They didn't save money. They didn't gain leverage. They lost credibility, alienated a generational player, and now may be forced to overpay just to keep a bridge from burning to the ground. And let's not pretend trading Micah Parsons makes sense either. It's August. You're not getting premium draft capital now. Any team that trades for Micah instantly improves, pushing their future first-round pick further down the board. You're not getting a top 10 pick unless you did this before the draft. The Cardinals spent their money. The Bears, already active in free agency. The time to maximize trade value was months ago, and the Cowboys blew it. Now, even entertaining a trade would further fracture the team and divide the fan base. Plus, without Micah, this defense looks significantly more average. Sam Williams, Dante Fowler, Donovan Eziruaku, they're fine rotational pieces. But they're not Micah Parsons. He changes games. He's a multiplier. Without him, the identity of your defense crumbles. At this point, the most likely outcome is that the Cowboys eventually cave and pay him. That's what history tells us. It's what they did with Dak Prescott twice. It's what they did with CeeDee Lamb. The only difference now is that they've made everything messier, more emotional, and more expensive. Even if they win and retain Micah, they've already lost in other ways. They've lost goodwill. They've lost momentum. And they've lost some faith from the locker room and the fan base. And for what? So Stephen Jones could play hardball with a player who's done nothing but dominate on the field and try to act professionally off of it? None of this had to happen. The Cowboys had multiple windows to get this done cleanly, quietly, and efficiently. They chose not to. Whether out of ego, miscalculation, or just plain dysfunction, they've let one of the league's brightest stars slip into open revolt. And while Jerry Jones could theoretically step in and fix this with one phone call and a blank check, it's already clear that damage has been done. Will it be enough to sever the relationship for good? Maybe not. But it's enough to have shaken the foundation of what this team is supposed to represent. And here's the thing, Micah Parsons still wants to be a Cowboy deep down. That's what makes this so painful. He wanted to get the deal done early. He wanted to take the risk off the table and be part of this franchise for years to come. But now, after months of being ignored, criticized, and undervalued, he's forced to go public and put his foot down. The trade request may ultimately be a power move to force the Cowboys' hand, but that doesn't make it any less real. The damage is done. And no matter how this ends, one thing is certain, the Cowboys have mismanaged yet another critical negotiation with one of their stars. They can still fix it, but the cost of fixing it just went up, again.